Bien.
Okay, perfect. So like I mentioned, we're going to be talking about the steps to hosting an open house. And this is very important because an open house not only serves as an opportunity for you to sell the property, it serves as other stuff too, which we are going to get into. An open house is an event that we as agents organize to invite as many people as possible to our listings, showcase the property, collect leads, get feedback, and potentially receive an offer. So there's a lot of aspects to an open house, not just showing the house for you to potentially find a buyer, but you are also collecting leads. So if neighbors are around, they are owners of the property, maybe they're thinking of selling, but they don't even know how to start. You're right there, and to take advantage of the opportunity to possibly get more listings, or if you get people that are passing by, they saw the sign, they come in and you collect their information. And maybe they don't like that specific property that you have, that you're showing, but they want to stay with you and they want to see more houses. An open house is also useful for feedback, which you bring back to the seller to make adjustments to the sales price or to anything that the house might have. So, there's a lot of little points or little things that happen when you're trying to sell a property. If the house is maybe listed for a little bit higher than it should, and you're trying to show your client and prove your client that, maybe we can bring it down, or maybe if you hear the feedback from people that come in and other agents that are trying to show the property too, their feedback can serve as evidence for you to advise your seller about the price, or maybe some improvements in the property, or just simply um, uh, just stuff around that house that might need repairs, or the way that the house is decorated, or the way that the house is painted, or just a lot of comments and opinions might help as evidence to talk to your client, to your seller, when it comes to making adjustments to the listing. So let's move on to the next slide. The benefits of an open house: selling a home is like a business, and the open house is your grand opening. It's a way to create a buzz and capture the attention of the home buyers. Yes, you may attract some looky-loos who just enjoy open houses, but you'll also attract buyers who saw your house online and want to see it in person. Those who don't yet have agents and those who aren't quite ready for private showing, an open house is a perfect way to transform a casual looker into a buyer, somebody who wants to buy a property. So, like I was mentioning, my first open house was a failure because I missed a lot of steps. And mainly I missed to promote it and invite people. I just thought that maybe if I put some signs up, people were just gonna show up like if it was a garage sale, and it doesn't work that way. There's a lot of things that you can do and take advantage, depending on the type of property that you are listing. If you are listing a high-end property, that's your opportunity to have an open house. Even if you are already getting people that are interested, if people are tempted, or they're talking about sending you an offer, the moment that you have a high-end listing, that is your chance to talk to your seller and say, may I host an open house next week or this weekend, right away, for you to showcase yourself, like show your business, invite people, just take advantage of the whole opportunity. And, at the end of the day, you may have a list of people that want to make an offer on that house. And obviously, we are not leaving behind, or we're not gonna leave out any property that is, that's probably not in the high price or sales price. Any property that you have, any listing is a business, and you want to honor it by, you need to make an open houses, even if it's a mobile home to like a huge property with a big sales price. It's always important to, do the same amount of work or effort and passion to it, because everybody's going to see it. And your client is not only a client for that transactions, that person can be a client in the future also. So you're always going to take care of your clients the same way, but take advantage of the opportunities that you have each time. Open houses are most often done in the weekends to make it as convenient as possible for potential buyers. According to the National Association of Realtors, the best day for an open house is the first Sunday after your home is listed. This should give you enough time to prepare and make your listing look its best. Open houses typically last about 4 hours, between 2 and 4 hours, and they are usually held in the afternoon, or maybe after 12 p.m. or so. Some of them are held in the mornings, but most of them are usually held in the afternoon after 12 p.m. Yeah, choosing the day for an open house, you don't want to have an open house on a Monday or a Tuesday, or any days during the week. Maybe Friday can work, but the weekend is the perfect day, or the perfect days for you to host an open house, because people don't work on Saturdays or Sundays, especially on Sundays. So I would say that Sunday is the perfect day for an open house. And yeah, you can have it in the afternoon, because a lot of people go to church in the morning. A lot of people, they're busy in the morning on Sunday mornings, but in the afternoons, you can take advantage, and where people have the day off, they're free, they're open to look at houses, and it creates like an expectation, especially if you list the property a week before an open house. It creates that anticipation, and you can there's a way for you to post it on the MLS when you're about to host a property, so everybody that looks at your listing, or looks at the MLS sheet, they're gonna see that you're gonna have an open house, and the house is not gonna be available to see it or to look at it until the open house, and that can gather up a lot of people. So you can gather a crowd by simply announcing it on the MLS and allowing people to wait until the day that it's available to see it. So I've seen open houses that have done that, not in the type of market that we have now. I mean, this was a few years back, and I loved the idea of holding the showings until the open house, because it creates that wait, and people are kind of waiting to see the houses. You get everybody in, and I went to an open house one time. I saw this one time, and that's where I saw this, where I saw the listing. My client wanted to see it right away. They loved the price, and the house looked really pretty, but you weren't able to see it until the open house. So when we arrived there was at least 20 cars parked outside waiting to see the house. So everybody was kind of lined up in the outside and waiting to see the house. Most of them were agents with clients that were going to see the house, but a lot of people were just, they have heard, or I don't know what that agent did to promote the open house, but all those people are potentially clients for the listing agent. So the listing agent is gathering everybody's information because she is then going to put it into her database. So it's very, the day is very important, and it's always best or advised to have it in the weekends. And this is what sellers need to do before an open house. And this is very, very, very important for you to talk to your sellers before the open house, prepare them, tell them how it's going to be. Have sellers finish any repairs, cleaning, and clearing of valuables. So this is very important. And I speak for experience. If the client is planning to have any repairs, it's best to have them as soon as possible before the open house. The house has to be cleaned out. If they're still living in the house, it's best to put away as many things as possible. For example, one of the what I had one open house that the house was very pretty, and the way that they had it decorated was just fine. They needed just like vacuuming and maybe dusting a little bit, but the kitchen was filled with a lot of stuff. They had a lot of appliances, they had a lot of cooking stuff, and the refrigerator was literally covered in family pictures and stuff and magnets. And I mean, it's their home, they have it however they like, but I did advise them to put it away, so they were people that would come in and look at the house would see the potential and see themselves living in the property and not just going into a house that is filled with personal stuff that belong to somebody else. So it's very important to tell your clients to clean the house and leave it as empty as possible. It's a great tip to not be too direct and offensive. Like, you don't want to tell them, those decorations are not that pretty. I mean, you don't want to say that to your client. You want to tell them in the nicest, most professional way, just the best, the emptiest the house looks, the better the people that are going to come in and look at it, the better that they're going to picture themselves inside the house. It's also very important to remember to remove any valuables. If if the family has jewelry exposed, it's important to put it away, because there is a lot of people that come in and look at the house, and you never know who's going to come in and snatch something real quick, and nobody's going to find out until later on, and there's no way of knowing. So it's important to get rid of any small valuables or just things that are important to the people, to the owners that live in the house, so you don't get anything like that. Of course, you're going to be there the entire time, but you can't monitor, where people are going, especially if they go into the rooms by themselves, the bathrooms and stuff like that. It's just better to clear everything out of the way so it looks empty. Have the yard mowed or clear the driveway. So, mowing the lawn, it's free, and the seller can do it in a couple of hours, clear the driveway, have it, as the most presentable as possible. If in process of moving, have all the boxes out of the way as much as possible. So one thing that your clients can do is just maybe if there's boxes lying around, if there's a lot of stuff lying around because they're moving, they're packing. So when you're packing, you're taking out stuff from the closets that were stored in there, and it might get messy. So if you're planning to host an open house on that property, it's better to move all the boxes out of the way, either on a storage or just simply move everything to the garage or to an empty room. That way the house can be visible and be presentable. And for example, if you use one of the bedrooms to store all the boxes that they're using for moving, if they'll know that they're in the process of moving, so that room specifically will have stuff in it. Remove pets from the home or be placed in crates while the home is being shown. So there's a lot of people that have pets, have dogs, cats, and all kinds of, different type of pets. It's important to put them away or have the seller take them with them. So since the seller is not going to be present during the open house, if there's dogs in the property, it's just better to have them removed or placed in a pet crate. So, nobody with allergies or, nobody has an accident that, a pet might attack. You never know what could happen. So, it's always important to remind your seller to put away the pets or take them with them. Open windows to allow airflow from any odors. And this is extremely important. There's a lot of houses that have their own scent and their own odors, especially if they have dogs. People that own pets are accustomed to the smell, but maybe somebody that doesn't have pets is not used to the smell, and just coming in can be a complete turn off. So I've heard cases of homes, not just with pets, but people that keep their house. I mean, they don't open windows. They probably don't clean as often, that the smell of the house can be overwhelming. Like I mentioned before, my very first transaction was a listing, and that property, it was a very nice house and the people were planning to move already. But when we came in to look at the house on the first appointment for the listing presentation, the owner, he was a smoker and he smoked in the house in every room. So literally the walls were dripping from, I guess, nicotine, and the house smelled like cigarettes. It was extremely overwhelming. It was very strong. And I told the seller, I know that you might be used to the smell, but it does smell a little bit like cigarettes. And I might have, toned it down a little bit, but it was tremendous. And we have to let the sellers know. We have to tell them, you have to do something about the odor. And suggesting to open the windows even during the open house will allow some airflow to get any odor out. Maybe placing candles or something that those plug-in scent devices that give a nice scent to a house. You can use those. I had to use those. I put candles, I put those plugins, and they helped a little bit, but the house was eventually had to get cleaned up and repainted to remove all the smell. So that is one tip to always remember. And you will know once you go to the listing presentation, you will know you're going to do a walkthrough, you're going to look at the house and see what it needs, and then you can give your client your advice. Make sure not to be present and allow the agent to take care of the open house. So the seller is usually not present. If the seller is there, it's not a good idea. If the seller gets to talking to the clients, you might even be at risk of losing the listing if the seller is involved and trying to talk, and they might disclose information that they don't have to. So it's just better for them to take a 3-hour break or go somewhere else and allow you to work. And usually you don't have to say that to the person. They usually know beforehand. And from the agent's side, what agents need to do before an open house is basically inform the seller about how an open house works, and that is simply going through the list that we just went through. Let them know how it works and what the purpose of it is, and just so there's no surprises, so the seller knows exactly what's going on and that their house is going to be shown for a few hours. Announce, program it on MLS. So there's a way for you to program an open house in the MLS when you have a listing. And when you go to edit, it'll give you the option to select create an open house. When you put it on the MLS, every agent is going to see it, especially if your listing is a new listing and it's active. It's being seen by a lot of people that are on the auto email system. Everybody's going to see it. It appears in green and it looks different than all of the other active listings. And people are going to see it right away because it's highlighted. So once they see it, they'll know they can gather the information. And I believe that this is one of the best ways for you to promote your MLS listing. And simply announce it. Announce it in your firm or your local office, which is, you know, all of the agents in your office. In our case, it would be our Gainesville office and our North Metro office. Invite sponsors such as lenders. This is a good idea for you to have a sponsor there, that maybe you can invite a lender and have the lender be there. If the lender is allowed to put a yard sign, by simply asking the seller if it's okay to put a sign on the yard along with yours, you might have to do that. But they can come in and talk to people. They can even qualify them. They can bring a computer, they can bring their little table, they can bring treats, they can bring lunch. That's why we call them sponsors, because they would be, you know, putting a lot in it, and they can sit there and talk to people and get, you know, maybe get the client also. Make sure your yard signs are ordered. So if you're planning to have a listing soon and you're planning to have an open house on that listing, make sure you have your signs ordered. It's very, very professional of you to have a yard sign. Promote it on a daily basis on social media. So social media is our friend and it's free. Promote it daily. Daily, make videos, make signs, make flyers. Just show everyone that you're gonna have an open house coming soon. Use other advertising tools to promote, perhaps the radio and local newspapers. So you can promote yourself in the radio. I know that it sounds kind of like old-fashioned, but people still listen to the radio. You can promote it there. Have flyers, postcards, signs, and business cards, sign-in sheets ready. Have all of those things ready. Don't be doing it on the day of. Have it all ready beforehand. The postcards are usually to maybe share with the neighbors. The signs are for you to have them ready for the yard sign, and the business cards is to hand out to every person that comes in a unique way. Make phone calls and invite people personally. So you want to call your people, you want to call your database, you want to call other agents, people that you know, and invite them to your open house. So that this is one of the things, this is just a few of the things that you have to do before your open house. The day of the open house, make a trail of signs along the way to attract traffic. So like balloons and signs. So you want to make it as flashy as possible. Start if the house is kind of like in a subdivision or a community where they have to take a lot of turns from a big highway. Start from the where the traffic is flowing constantly. Start from there, make little arrows all the way to the house, but don't forget to pick them up after you're done. Make sure the door is open to welcome people. Always have the door open, always. So that's something that allows people to just kind of come in and help themselves and look around. So make it very flashy, you know, make it attractive, and that way you can attract the people that are just passing by, maybe, you know, just not strangers, but just traffic that they might be looking at houses. And if you have those signs up, they're going to look at it while they drive by. It is recommended to have refreshments from an elaborate board of fancy foods to a simple treat. So you can have, I've seen like charcuterie tables filled with stuff for an open house. I mean, I've seen wine, champagne. I mean, I've seen a lot of stuff. And you can go all out and have all that, but you have to make sure that that people are going to come in and consume it. You don't want to stay with all that food. Or you can simply have a treat like a water bottle with your logo. And for example, this is a little bag of popcorn. Thanks for popping by our open house. So it's just a cute, unique way for you to just give somebody, give the clients, or give the people that are coming to your open house a little something. In this little tag, you can add your business card. Always add your information. Have waters. Have candy. Anything that you want to do, depending on the efforts that you put in the open house. So, I mean, like I said, if you have a high-end listing, you might want to go out and like do something big. But if you're planning to do something big, is because that a lot of people are going to come to your open house. Display property disclosures and exhibits such as HOA or lead-based paint. This is very, very helpful for your open house, is to have the information available for the people. You don't want them to be asking for questions. Oh, what are the schools in the area? What do we have near? Whatever questions that they might have, give them a flyer. Give them a little, show them a folder with all the information around the property, about the property and around the neighborhood. So have all that stuff. It's important to have the seller's property disclosure there so they can look at it. Have any exhibits, HOA and lead-based paint if it applies. So have all those printed there to have the people take one with them. And if you have pictures, even better, because they'll remember the house. Display information about the home and the area. Some agents don't do this work. They just leave it to the seller's disclosure. But it's a nice touch for you to have, what restaurants are around the neighborhood, what schools, what shopping stores are around there. Anything that gives information on that property, because it motivates people. Display listing flyers. So the flyers are just simply to give them out, and they can take them with them if they're in the process of looking for a house. Have a sign-in sheet to collect info and feedback. So the sign-in sheet is crucial because that's where you're gonna have people sign in their names. You're gonna collect their emails, their phone numbers, and that goes to your database. That goes to your CRM system for you to save it, and then not maybe, but you have to contact them afterwards. Even if they're not interested in the house, those are leads that you can call back and ask them, hey, what'd you think of the open house? Did you like the property? If they said no, it wasn't what I'm looking for, ask them, what were you looking for? Maybe I can help you. I would love to show you more properties, and you have another buyer there. So these are the reasons why it's very important to have all those things ready there. And people love for an agent that is prepared and has everything and has all the answers. So just remember that. Have a table just for your sponsor. You can have your lender, have their table and their stuff, so they can qualify people there. If they have their computer, if they have the stuff there, they can, get somebody qualified, get a pre-qualification, not qualified, but get a pre-qualification. Be ready to answer questions regarding the property and how to start the home buying process. So people are gonna ask, usually people ask the same questions all the time, and they're gonna ask the same question about, so what do I have to do to start? Or what's the home buying process? always be ready to answer those questions. Don't let people leave empty-handed. Give them your business cards and information. So don't let anybody walk out without you handing them your business card, because that is very important. You're getting their information, but they're also getting your information. While people arrive, walk around the neighborhood, talk to the neighbors about the open house and possibility of listing their home for sale. So an open house is also a great opportunity for you to go door knocking on the neighborhood. You'll have a great excuse, not just to get the business, but to invite them to the open house. Leave door hangers or flyers if they're not home. So that's just a tip that you can leave your information if they don't answer the door. So we just came to the end of this class. I don't know if there's any questions, comments, alguna pregunta o comentario. Voy a detener el sharing. Perdón, la grabación. But that is it for the open houses.